Hello, everybody. Welcome once again to my channel. Here's Damus Farms. And then here, a quick one. I want to show you how the rabbit farming record spreadsheet works. Of course, people have asked me, is this a software? Is it a spreadsheet? Is it an app or whatever? It is a spreadsheet, a normal Excel spreadsheet, only that we've added graphics and so many functionalities to it that makes it work just like a software or an app, so that it's very user friendly whilst you are using it, and a lot of things have been automatically calculated for you. So here we have quick one. I don't want this video to keep long. So first of all, once you purchase this, you need to update your breeding stock. You might want to update your breeding stock. These are some stocks we got in October. So October flock, I just decided to keep a separate record for them. So you enter their names, the breeding doe list. You enter their names. Usually when you enter a lot of them, you want to know the number, you just highlight this. Then you can see here that there is count, which gives you like 20. So we got these 20 does to expand the farm and all that. So the date of birth and then the age, then the weights. These are, if you want, you can always keep in the date. Sometimes helps so that when you weigh it again and you see that there's an improvement, you can see it. When you weigh it and you realize that the weight has gone down, you can see that something may be wrong with that particular rabbit. Then the breed. All right, so I've inserted the breeds here. Then the status or the status. So whether nursing, cross, pregnant. Once you click on this arrow, you select the options. So this is also good. Let me show you one trick here. I don't usually tell people, but I expect that people should know. So once you have something like this, and not everybody has this updated records anyway. Once you have it like this, you want to sort out those who are nursing or something like that. You can just come here. First of all, make sure that this one, everything's checked. All right, you might want to remove the blank ones. Then you come to A to Z. So you can see automatically it has sorted out those who have been crossed. So you can see it here and trace it. Okay. So according to me, the chestnut, do 0002, do 04, do 11, D14, D15, D19 have all been crossed. Okay. Then you come to those who are nursing. You can see here that, okay, to even know the number, you can as well do this. You can just select here, and then you have again the count says that 6 have been crossed. And then how many are nursing? You can see here 6 are nursing. Then how many are pregnant? You've confirmed pregnancy, which we shall look at in the daily records or the mating records. So when you confirm pregnancy too, you also include it. And then the rest and then the sold. Usually I like to keep, even the ones you sell, you need to keep their records, because at the end of the month, at the end of the year, or when you go to the performance of the farm, you'll be able to see, still trace this particular doe records. All right. The same thing applies for the breeding bags. Breeding bags. Okay, don't worry. You can just choose what is applicable to, because bags cannot be pregnant, so don't worry about it. So maybe if you sold it, you indicate sold. If it's dead, you indicate dead. Culled. If it's resting, well, of course, if it's sick, then you indicate it. Okay, so let's always use the home button. Now, I realize people prefer to use this side rather than the home button. Please use it for us. Good. Then the next thing we want to talk about is okay, now that you are done with your breeding stock, you want to go to master production and business planner. So over here, let me make it quick. Rabbits can be sold from their 2nd month, 3rd month, 4th month, and then their 5th month. Usually 6 months is not so business advisable that you leave rabbits on your farm for up to 6 solid months. I mean, to be a lot of cost on you, because mind you, whilst these ones are growing, they should have about 1-2 more batches coming up. So you shouldn't always keep rabbits for more than 5 months. In fact, at my end, 4 months is the latest. If you find 5 months old rabbits at my farm, is simply because I was trying to keep it as a breeding doe and you came for it. And usually those ones have high prices anyway. So come to your master plan now. First of all, you want to insert number of breeding dose and bags. So these two figures. How many dose do you want to do? Let me insert something like 30. All right. Then how many bags do you need for 30? We have it here. If you can see it, assuming 3. Then number of batches, insert number of batches for per month. So how many do you want to breed per month? You want to divide them into 3 batches, which is the right thing to do. So usually the 3 should, you can decide to just do it 1 batch. It's usually 1 batch, 2 batch, or 3 batch. But if your farm is small, let's say below 10, you can decide to do 1 batch. Okay. Usually I think it's good to do 3 batches because you have 3 different set of ages available. If something happens to the first one, the second ones will quickly fill up the empty space. Rather than raising them all at a go, then when you sell them off, your farm will be so empty. You have to wait for the next 3 months to have net. It's not good. So always do it 3 batches. Then the spreadsheet automatically gives you that, okay, so based on your number of those that you plan dealing with, you're going to be crossing 10 rabbits, or you should be expecting 10 rabbits to give birth every month. Always check it up. If you're not getting that, then it means that you are losing as a business. Then expected average size per litter, including mortality. So how many are you expecting each rabbit to give birth to even after they are dead? How many do you expect each mother to be nursing? Now, research has shown that 5. If you play your cards well, you can get 6 per rabbit. Oh, and sometimes if things don't go well, you may end up with 4. I've seen 4 a couple of times. After dividing the number of rabbits that were available, or that have been born or that have survived through after weaning, all right, you realize that when you divide those numbers by the number of mothers that were nursing or lactating those baby rabbits, sometimes you end up with 4, sometimes 5. So always enter a reasonable amount, but 5 is a good number. All right. So with this, it means that with 30 doe units, you should expect to raise an average of 50 rabbits. It could be more, 50 rabbits every month. Every month. All right. Because of the cycle, they will keep running the cycle. So you will never always lack animals. There should always be like 50 rabbits available that have been born every month. That's some work, And like I said, usually I normally see 40. I know people say get more, so that's not what I'm here to teach. Anyway, so production, duration or rearing period. This one it must be hidden. If you find it in yours, don't worry, it's a hidden thing. All right, so the feed consumption by produced rabbit for the period. So now, based on this spreadsheet, it tells us that those 50 rabbits you produce. Now we want to calculate cost of production batch by batch, individual batches, instead of the whole rabbits that we born, so that you can price those single rabbits. You can know each batch, how much you spend on each batch before we come to those who will be born later. Those are very technical stuff. Anyway, so the spreadsheet. Now, how did I arrive at this number? So feed consumption by produced rabbits for the period, we have it here as 112 kilo. Okay, 112 kilo. So if you are buying a 25 kg bags of feed, you have to know that you need about 5 bags. You need about 5 bags to feed 50 rabbits. All right, let's say 4 bags to feed 50 rabbits in their second month. And mind you, second month is by 1 month they start eating. By 1 month they are fighting with their mothers over the feed. All right. Sometimes even, let me say 1 month they are very well enough to start eating solid food. So for the next 2 weeks or so that they will be with their mother, and then when you wean them, I'm talking about the second month, they would have consumed about 4 bags. So this helps you to calculate and to know your cost of production. How did we arrive at this number? Let me take you quickly there, a brief one, then we'll come back. So we go to feeding schedule. Now, feeding schedule here shows you, what do you call it? feeding schedule is average per rabbit. I've been able to calculate this from my experience. This is what I normally give them. They can't normally eat more than this, and usually it's 5 to 10% of their body weight. All right, so this is what. So 1 month old should be eating 25 gram per rabbit, and 2 month old should be eating like 50 gram per rabbit. And I think that 1 month 25 gram is almost like 5 spoons. Yeah, maybe. Anyway, including waste and all that. So this is how come you are. If you think that you feed your rabbits less than that, you can come and change these figures. So that is how come we arrived at this figure. So when you change these figures, for example, the feeding schedule, let's say you give your rabbits, which are 1 month old, 10 gram or 20 gram for this. Let me just end it here. Then when you come back, you can see the figure has changed, all right, from from 112 to 45 kilo. Okay, it may sound very reasonable, but personally, I think 50 rabbits will eat more, a little more, in 2 months. All right. So let me go back to my 25 gram. Mind you also that there will be wastage of feed. Well, let me go back to my 25 gram and then 50 gram for the purpose of the calculations. So quick. Back to the production plan. So now, this is how much they will consume. Now, cost of feed per kilo here is also one thing that, an information that is drawn from elsewhere. So we are going to look at cost of feed per kilo, okay? It's also on the menu. You come here, cost of feed. Now, what formula do you use to feed them? Let us assume, let me clean all this, and then assume that you are using a particular already made feed. ABC feeds. Okay, so ABC feeds cost you 150 cedis, and then the total weight is, let's say, 25 kilo. Okay, so the moment and total use is 25 kilo used off. So the moment you enter your ABC feed, already made feed, I assume, the moment you enter it, it shows you price per kilo, right? Now, since you don't have any records here, you have to clean this ones. I'll show you, in case you have more records here, I'll show you what to do. So ABC feeds, for example, and it's costing you 60 per kilo. Now, it automatically reflects here. If you have more ingredients, let's say you buy layer mash. I think it's 300 something now. And then the weight per bag is 50. And then let's say wheat bran. Price is now 90, I think. Then the kilo is 25. So when you come here to determine the price per kilo, just come here and use this symbol. There's a box, a small square here. Drag it over this one. So you know that cost per kilo for wheat bran now is 360 pesos. Then the total used, sorry, total used maybe, yes, of course, there is a proportion we mix. I think layer mash goes with 3 bags of wheat bran. So now you have it at 75 kilo. Okay, so let's assume this is all your formula. Always remember to update this side in case you add something to it. So let me assume this is your formula. So you have it here as 4 CD 4.20 per kilo. Now, I didn't put figures, currency here because we had people purchasing from outside Ghana. Yeah, I have someone from Zambia, Zimbabwe, and then Togo. So we had to make it, and even Nigeria, we had to make it neutral. So 4.20 or 4.20 pesos in Ghana. So then it reflects here as cost of feed. So you can see it right here. Now that is what is going to determine the actual cost that is going to go into raising these rabbits for only 2 months. Now the highlight so far is on the second month. Okay, the highlight is on the second month. So cost of feeding rabbits born or produced for the period. So based on this cost of feed, you know that your 50 rabbits, you are going to spend a total of 427 cedi 50 pesos on them whilst they are 2 months old. Okay, so sometimes you just have to look at, I'll produce 50 rabbits. Wow, that's good. Look at the cost of raising those rabbits against, yes. All right, we'll come to the profit side. I know that's what a lot of people like. Allow me to spend some time here because this is super important in doing rabbit farming. This is where a lot of people end up failing because they don't do any cost of production analysis. They don't count their cost. They just start raising the rabbits and then they lock along the way. All right, so feed consumption by breeding stock for the period. So the breeding stock that you have, which includes all the 30 and then the 3 bags. So they will consume a total of 295 kilo. Also a reflection on your feed schedule, all right? So from pregnancy to nursing for the 2 months, and then yes, something like that. Good. So it shows you that 409 kilos of feed that they would consume. Okay, then cost of feeding breeding stock from pregnancy to time of sale. So the whole thing put together from the time they were pregnant, started feeding them till the time the babies are now 2 months, which is a total of 3 solid months. You have 1,247 cedis over here in cedis as your cost of feeding only the breeding stock. All right. And now total cost of feeding for the period, which includes that of the babies. So you now have 1,119 cedis as your cost of production for raising only 50 rabbits. That is if you don't go by medications, if you are doing only feed, okay, and if you are going to feed them to the maximum. All right, so then you insert cost of medication. If you have labor, I don't know how many people have labor, but if anybody has labor, you can alert me so that I include it. Then the cost price per rabbit produced. So now you know that at the end of the whole show, you spend a total of 34.40 on each rabbit based on this number. Even if the number reduces, just keep this number. Yes, because as the number reduces, the cost reduces. So definitely this 34 series was still going to be intact. Okay, yeah, maybe even more. Let's say you at the end of the day you hit you're able to get 4 per rabbit. You realize that it has now increased to 40 cedis. So you have to try your best to make this 5 thing work. If you hit 6, that's a jackpot for you. So the more you're able to control mortality, the more your profit will be. So you get here that 2 months rabbits are costing you 34 cedis. Now 2 months rabbits cost 50 cedis, some even 60. All right. Let me just do it 50. I tell you, people are selling 60 now, so it's 50. Let me put it like this. So based on this, you're able to price something that is quite okay. Maybe if it's 60, boy, you are going up. Let's say 50. If it's 50 and you're able to maintain your 6 per doe, your profit increases. It's a game. Rabbit farming is a game of numbers, like people will tell you. Okay, so total revenue after sales. So you expect that after selling all these guys, probably at 2 months, you're not going to be able to sell all of them anyway. Well, some will be males and they may not be able to sell at this age. But for the purpose of calculation, so assuming you are selling all of them at 2 months, you get your 2,500, then projected profit to be 710, then your profit margin and blah blah blah. The same thing applies. So once you enter these figures, all the projections for the next months are already there. You don't need to. So you read. So if I'm going to keep those rabbits for 3 months, what am I to look at? Cost of stock cost of feeding 2,000. I'm going to keep them for 4 months, 4,000. I'm going to keep them for 5 months, 5,000 plus. Mind you, this is only for one batch. So if you have other batches, you are likely to spend more on feeding. All right. So this is important for planning purpose, and it works. I tell you, it works for me like crazy. All right, so 3 months old are now 80 cedi. You want to make sure that your profit margin is all the same. So you have moved, and then 4 months old, let's say 120. You can see it has also come up. Then 5 months. So you can see from here, which month are you losing? 3 months is a loss. So maybe you can say 3 months are going to be sold for 85 cedi. That's too much. That's too much. So let's just maintain the 80 cedis, but know that your third month is not so much. But anyway, the differences are not much. All right. So 1, 3, and then the same thing as the 5 months old. All right. Maybe you can decide to reduce your 4 months old. Not that bad. So 110. That's also bad. So 120 is perfect. And actually 4 months old heavy rabbits is okay for 120. All right. Then this is also a summary of the whole thing. So maybe for example, you have your 30 doe. So this is your breeding. You can select 90 days. So estimated number of liters per doe yearly, which means that every doe is going to give birth to 4 based on this plan. If you choose 60, which is every 2 months, the rabbit should give birth, which is a very stressful plan. If you don't have a good feeding plan, you don't have a very good feed, you don't go for this kind of plans. Some even go for 45 days, which means the rabbit is supposed to give birth 8 times in a year. But frankly speaking, 90 days is okay, where the rabbit gives birth 4 times in a year. Then the average litter size, you insert your number, then estimated number of rabbits to be produced yearly. So with your 30 doe units, expect to produce nothing low or less than 600 rabbits. That's some number for 30 doe units, boy. Then average selling price per rabbit produced. So averagely, this is just for simple planning purpose. So let's say averagely you want to price your rabbits at 80 cedis. Tells you the average sales income for a whole year will be 48,666.67. Estimated cost of production or operational cost percentage. Usually is 60. It works. Okay, over here we have it as what? 70. Okay, so let's just maintain the 70. Then estimated cost of production or operational cost. So based on this, you know that you're supposed to pay like 34,000 by the end of the year. Maybe a few of the months will come from your pocket, but with time, they will begin to feed themselves. So estimated annual profit for 30 doe units. This is a very important one. Estimated annual profit for the 30 doe units is almost 14,600, which is quite some cool cash, because 30 doe units is not so much enough. It's not so much a number, so you can take care of them. So let's look at those who want to do it highly commercial. Let's say you go for 200 doe units. Once you see this kind of things, sometimes it's not an error. You just need to click here to expand it. So if you're doing 200 do units, expecting 97,000. If you're doing 300 do units, you're expecting 146,000. That's some cool cash. I mean, mind you, you need to always come here and check up with production cost. Is very important so that you don't get carried away with this huge figure. Okay, and it's possible. It happens. I know people who are making it big time. All right, so much time has been spent on the master planner. It's very important, the master planner. All right, so let's go to the next thing, which is, oh, it's already 25 minutes. Wow. So the next thing, I'll try and make it quick. Mating records. Now, before you come here, make sure you've updated your breeding stock list. These ones, make sure you've updated everything. Then, so once you come here, you enter the date mated. All right. Always use the shortcut date. So this one like this is 27th October 22. So usually do it like that so that you can get the date like this. Then the bag that you use, once you go, you select the bag. Okay. The ones you've updated. So this one was commando. Oh, there was a bag. Okay. So when you go, you see the list of your does that you updated and you select. Then the number of falls, if you're able to witness the falls, you can write it here. Some of them I don't really pay attention, I forget. Now the pregnancy test date you are supposed to test pregnancy. Now this is also important. Let me go quickly to breeding cycle. Breeding cycle here is days to test pregnancy, when to put the nest in, when do you want to wean them. I have it here as 7 times 8, which is 8 weeks. It's maybe too much, but sometimes I do that for some reasons. And when do you want to consider them as matured breeders, which is 150 days for breeding and probably 100 days for meat or 120 days for meat. So breeding cycle is 90 days. This will help you determine the next time to breed as a particular day. We'll get there. So before you go to all these mating stuff, always remember to come to the breeding cycle. Okay, so the mating record. So you have it already predicted that, okay, on the 11th, this is very, very important. One thing I learned in rabbit farming that has really helped me is how to test pregnancy. It helps avoid waste of time. So on the 27th, I crossed this, and then on the 11th, I was able to check it. Now, what was the result? It was pregnant. Nest in dates, as I already predicted from the breeding cycle, is I'm supposed to put the nest in on the 21st. Some of these things, when your animals are a lot, you may forget. So once you have these records here, and then you have it also on paper. Usually I have this paper sellotape that I write it on and I paste it on the rabbit's cage. Okay, so you write all these stuffs, you put an expected candling date so that you don't miss the date. So always prepare for the rabbit. So you have it here as 26th November and all that. So that's it. You keep doing it, keep doing it, keep doing it for all. I usually highlight to see which people are next. So normally I highlight. Okay. This one is not pregnant, so let me leave it out. So these ones are currently pregnant. Crossed, they are the ones I'm watching out for. Okay, so I'm supposed to, okay, so you've seen that this one, the test date was 26th. I tested it and I was pregnant. Now the following, if you look at my date, the following are yet to be tested. So then I just highlight it to know who is next. Okay, so from here, I can always place my distance here and know the counts. Where is the count? 7 has been crossed so far. Okay, these things are, you see, when you do it daily, it's very easy. But if you want to wait till a particular period, or maybe even at the end of the week, it makes it so organized. Now let's go to, so when the candling starts, now this is it. So you start recording the date candle, the same format I showed you in the previous one. Then the sire is, okay, so which male was responsible for this? In order to track the pedigree of the animal or the roots or the gene or the seed or whatever, the parental stock of each litter. So the sire represents the father. So you choose the father, and then the dame represents the doe. So you choose the doe's name. And a litter ID, usually I like to give it litter ID for some reasons. Okay, so we have, you can use any code. Usually I even use I could have made something like this. I would have entered commando black, black the first, which means a combination of commando and black beauty. All right, but also we have the breeding stock code. So the B1 represent the back one, and then the D1 represent the do one. So simply you have B1 D1. Okay, then normal born 5, stillbirth is when they give birth. How many of them were already dead before you met it? So total mortality before weaning, and then total lefts. Then weaning date due based on your figures that you entered in the weaning records. Quick, I think we are okay with this. These are very important because once you start entering these figures, these ones will calculate automatically. Good. So what is next? What is next? What is next? Let me go to sales. So sales also, you record the date, category of sale, whether meat, breeding stock or whatever, number sold and price per rabbit or price per product, then the amount. Okay. What else? This one wouldn't like to go in, but I mean your assets, the things that you buy, you have to keep record of them. You find the date, value, and all that. Good. So let's go back to the menu. Then we have veterinary records. When you do that, you just record it for record's sake. Then another important, daily incidents, what happens during the day. Anything that happens, anything special, anything significant that you need to take notice of, you can do that. And so that it's sometimes good I have it on the other ones. I have so many things recorded. When a rabbit died, why it died, and all those stuff. Good. So the last thing we want to look at is the does and backs performance. This is where, as a businessman or as a business owner, you have to concentrate a lot on. So we have production dashboard, the months, number of crossings. So you check it up that, okay, so at the end of the day, usually you refresh it after a lot of things have been done. After refreshing this table, you may have your own empty. Click on this. Make sure you select all the months and then click on it. I usually don't like these days that are looking so strange. So then you have, okay, so I have it here that I think this January is this year. So January I crossed 2, 5 crossed 1, October 5 were crossed, November 7 were crossed, December 8 were crossed. Now you use this to check your master planner, whether you are on course. Okay, whether you are on course. So with this 20 doe unit, you could see that number of does to be crossed per month for me was 7. But when I come here, this one was 5, this one was 5, 7. So I saw that I was losing. So I had to try and force and cross 8 in December in order to balance the whole equation. Okay, good. In order to balance the whole equation, it's very important so that you know whether you are on course or you are losing based on your business plan. And then also production dashboard 2, the months, the number of case born, number of stillbirth, number of pre-weaning mortalities. So these are not things you enter. You just refresh. If you can't find anything, go to this sort out thing. And always check this list without those single dates. Okay, so number of kids born in January 3, November 5, December 41. There was 3 stillbirths. Number of preweaning mortalities. So that is it. The total number of survivors, which is what was left. Okay, let's go to the next thing. Is chestnut. Okay, so these are dose performance. Number of times crossed, you have it there. Then dose performance 2, the number of liters for each doe. That has given birth. Then blah 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 blah. I mean, you should understand. I can't say everything. So number of liters, some of born, some of kids born, total preweaning mortalities. So in summary, you can see here that I've had 9 births, out of which 49 have been born, and then mortality was 15, 3 were stillbirth, and I'm left with 31, which is bad. Okay, I have some explanations which I'm not going to do here. Then also, these are actually the backs, how many times they move. So you can see this, my guy is doing a lot of works. It also helps you to know that I'm not keeping this chestnut well at all. Let me bring it to a different place so that it can cross quite a number at a go. Because if you leave them dormant like that, they become impotent. I think that's about. So income expenditure, good. The dates, income category. If you have an income category that is not included, you have to come here and just add it. Let's say urine. Okay, so once you enter urine, and then you come to income category, you can see the urine has been updated here. Then the income amount, how much did you get? Then the income details, what was it about? You can decide to put anything there. Then also the same thing for the expenditure. If you use the same date, if it's the same date, you have to enter it. If it's a different date, you can come and enter the different dates. And then the expenditure. So for example, I have a 21st May, my expenditure was all the way here. 20 up to 21st, I think yes, so 21st. I think I went to buy a particular thing on this date, so I bought a lot of things at the go. So whatever you enter in the income, you enter it on the same line for expenditure. So here we have an income. So we sold 2 breeds who were not really eating well. We sold them as meat. So I recorded it as an income and then whatever. So from here we go to the reports. So these reports, the same thing, refresh. Once you've entered some figures, always make sure you select. Usually if the thing doesn't appear here as month, it means you don't have enough records. So when it appears as month, when you have enough records and you click inside here, please come all the way to this right side. There will be month on this, in this particular date, and the next thing will be month. When you see it, drag it on top of the date. So you see these things in months. I don't know if I'm making sense, but it will make sense once you enter your data. So the expense category, if there are some particular categories that you've not yet included, you have to include it. You click here again and select. So that is it. Income categories. So you can see you added a urine, so you can include it by 0 now, so nothing will appear. All right, ladies and gentlemen, that is it. And then income expenditure record, you can go back to the home. So that is it. Okay, this is what this rabbit thing is all about. It's a very compact thing, and massive program for all rabbit farmers. It works the same way for other livestock. You know that there are different terms, there are different conditions to taking care of them. That is why they've been separated. So you can hit us up for your copy as well. Thank you very